Peace, brother.
Peace, 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 peace. How you feeling?
Doing good. How about yourself, man? How's everything?
I am still waking up, but I am good.
Oh, oh, you must be a night owl.
Not really. I go to bed early. I wake up typically like around 3 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
As long as I take naps, I can be present. So I took a nice little power nap maybe 2 hours ago
Okay.
at like 20 alarms just to make sure I will hear them to be present.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So,
Indeed.
so yeah. So what I do is this is called mindful morning, even though we're doing it at night, but it's okay. And basically, what I do with this is I like to have interviews with people to put out positive energy where I discuss spirituality and also the way spirituality can affect us and help us in modern times. Because it seems like a lot of people are throwing the old ways away, traditions away, spirituality away. But I think it still has a use for us in this modern world. And for those of y'all who are going to be watching this later or who might join us tonight, this brother right here, Allahjebrah, I met him a couple days ago, not even that long ago, and we had a amazing conversation. We had a real great build. The brother is a musician, a creative, a meditation teacher, a practitioner of Yoruba, and I learned all this about him probably in the first 5 minutes of talking to him. I was like, man, this dude is fascinating, and the energy was just real positive, man. So I was like, I gotta conversate with you because I know that positive energy, that light that you have inside of you, could definitely benefit others. We spread it out in the world, man. It's gonna multiply that so we multiply that so the blessings can come back to us tenfold and go back out tenfold and come back tenfold and to infinity.
And
So
appreciate it.
thank you for joining me, man. Appreciate you making time for this. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people and let them know a little bit about yourself.
Peace, love, and light. I am H. Allahjebrah Badu, or Baba Allahjebrah, for that a lot of people know. Who am I? I am a overall creative. I create music. I create healing frequencies. I create healing spaces. I'm just a person, first and foremost, that feels like love heals all. And because of that, I show up as a pure reflection of love. Um, in a world that might forget what love is, I feel like love has scapegoated for many emotions since the present of time. People have
Mm-hmm.
been pure of you, but they said that they love you. So a lot of times people have grown up thinking insecurity is love. And as a result, I'm just a person here that's just trying to like venge for love. And
Right, right,
you know,
right.
love is safe to express yourself as love out openly
Mm-hmm.
in the you know. There's no stronger force on this earth than love, so we can get people back to a space of love, that we can get people back to a place of evolving. Yeah.
Right. Excellent. That's 100% true, man. Thank you for that. So I wanted to kind of start off a little bit about where you are spiritually. So you said you were a practitioner of Yoruba, correct?
Yes, a practitioner is a very, very kind word. But in the Yoruba tradition, I'm considered to be a Babalawo.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
I do a lot of studying as a I've studied a lot. I'm trained a lot. And not only that, but it comes from a lineage, so something that not only I, but people before me and my family have been doing. I myself, too, even as it comes to Yoruba, I have a home and a healing center in Yoruba land. So in Oshun State, Oshogbo, down the street from the Oshun River, Yoruba land, that I'm able to take folks back to rest and retreat. Also take people back to that's looking to learn more about the Yoruba culture, and take people back to who are looking to actually initiate it. That's a calling within their soul. You know, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. I want to ask you. I began as a Christian. I was raised in a Christian household with Pentecostal. Were you always were you raised in Yoruba, or did you become initiated into it later on?
So in America, as my family looks or looked for a long time, very Baptist. We even have churches, or Baptist churches, with our names on them. And it's very interesting because growing up, I cannot say that we went to church as a form of religion.
Okay.
I know that well, again, our name are on a bunch of churches. We're very, very spiritual people. We're people that a lot of people from religious spaces come to.
Hmm.
But it's not because we practice the art of Christianity. I think we just embodied what it meant, if that makes sense.
No, it makes
Because
perfect sense. Yep.
but in a sense, but I say embody what it meant from the space of the heart, because if
Hmm.
you look at us, we look like some shit talkers, we might look like some bootleggers, we might look like all this other stuff, but hey, you know, so yeah, I could say that I had a understanding of religion growing up, but I wasn't in an organized religious background, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Definitely
Uh,
makes sense. So
yeah.
how did you get drawn from that upbringing that was kind of non-religious into Yoruba?
Because of the things in our household, for instance. So like it would be normal for us to talk about spirit, you know,
Okay.
and have conversations about spirit, to have conversations about dreams and how to work with intuition. To I also come from my family is native to America also, so it was interesting to always be around herbs, to be around fire, to be around water, to command the elements and things of that nature. So it was very natural. It was very natural. It was a very natural evolution as it related to we always had permission to learn more, but we wasn't normal. You know, I have a
Right.
grandfather named, you know, and that's true. Also is the name of an Orisha as it
Hmm.
relates to
Yeah.
um, but so I feel like it was just always intertwined. Black folks, ashe, ashe, ashe. The creative invention of Black folks and the way that we were able to add things and disguise things within it came to modern religion and things. Just to, you know, so I feel like my family was good at that. Good
Right.
at,
Right.
I would call it even. I don't want to call it code switching. That might be offensive to my family. But we was good at, like, you know, switching
Bringing
things,
it all together, blending
blending. There we go, blending. Yeah, I like your word better. They like.
it. Gotcha. So, as a person who's a Babalawo, how long did you study Yoruba before you said, you know what, this is for me. I want to ascend to like the level, because a Babalawo is a priest, more or less, correct?
Uh, More or less, yeah, a priest. So how long did I run before I chose to accept? Is what you're asking me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell us the story. What were you running from?
What was I running from? Goodness, that's a beautiful story too. So
Break it down.
I I was told for years. This was, hold on now. I'm 39 now, so this has started around the age of 15. I guess my running started around the age of 15. Just because it felt like responsibility. It felt like responsibility. My whole life, I just wanted to be a free person that's
Right.
probably at the club turning up somewhere. You know, to be a person with purpose. Nevertheless, a person that's purpose is to get people back on purpose. You
Right.
know,
Right.
it's considered to be the master of secrets. You know, so even when it comes to the org chart of a Yoruba or of Ifa, you have the Babalawo that people come to learn if they have a path. When it comes to Ifa, it's the Babalawos that people come to if they need to receive a Risha. You know,
Hmm.
so comes to Olorisha, so people who might be initiated within a certain Orisha. Let's say a person who's a priestess of Oshun or a priestess of Shango or something to that nature. And then you have the Babalawo who is even senior to them. You know, so why would I want to be in position in life to be Mr. Old Man of Wisdom when I'm trying to be young and ignorant?
Yeah.
Um, you know, and how does old man wisdom feel about my young ignorance? You know, so literally having to figure out how to integrate myself in something that someone else feels is holy,
Right.
but I just look at it as myself. You know, so it took a while. But even so before so Babalao is my 12th initiation on Earth. You know, so the amount of times I just ran, even my time. I revisited Christianity later on in life, and when I revisited Christianity later on in life, I became a pastor.
Okay.
That was on for a good 6 or 7 months before it felt like, wait. why everybody looking up to me? So for me, I feel like it was just I feel like the way that I saw myself, I wanted to identify as normal. I wanted to identify as something that was safe,
Right.
and to be someone that when you see you're supposed to do a dim, you know, you got to bow all this, and this whole traditional thing was just like, wait, then how can I embrace this and also embrace myself? I feel like I'm still in this beautiful space of with all of the initiation that I have, having to take it from ancient language and apply it into my language of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the honor of everyone that came before me, but how does this blessing apply to my right now, opposed to apply to how my opposed to what it was my ancestors first conjured it up for me? You know?
Right. Gotcha. And I think that's a very good question, because a lot of this stuff for a lot of people, they feel like it's antiquated. They feel like it's old, it's outdated, but more and more people are turning back to it. Why do you think so many of us are turning back to it, and how did you manage to take something that's so, like, it's so ancient that we don't even know where it came from, really, to be honest? How do you take something so ancient and then modernize it, and so and not only modernizing it in a world context, but in your personal life?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. You know, so the one thing that I will say that I love about Ifa, I love about the Yoruba tradition, is that we have something called Odu. And learning what your Odu is from heaven. And Odu, you a musical friend too, and Odu from heaven is literally like a Bible verse from heaven. So let's say that let's say that you have a book, let's say that there's a book of rhymes that's the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
Within these verses, you know, you have a verse. This verse says, "Devin comes the earth and um, sing songs and make sure that people rest their minds."
Mm-hmm.
But it also says a verse in there that says, you know, but if Devin gets caught spitting that, it's a boisterous shit. So
Yeah.
Devin's job on the earth is to spit rhymes and to help people calm their head. But if Devin gets stuck being boisterous, so getting big-headed about his purpose,
Right.
then drinks.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it was very dope because you get to understand a lot of times in life we're looking for our purpose. Why the heck am I here?
Right.
You learn your Odu, you learn, you actually are able to learn your purpose. You actually are able to learn
Gotcha.
being here, the strength of you being here, what your taboos are. And I say that because black folks, we have collected taboos from around everybody. So therefore we don't
Right.
want to step on any cracks, since we ain't trying to break nobody's mama back. We ain't trying
Mm-hmm.
to, because we don't know all these things, you know,
Right.
which is valid. But what happens is, shout out to it. Right now, we're also in Hoodoo History Month, and Hoodoo is a collection of um, magi, of formulas that have worked from everybody that was put into one pot. So as a result, within Hoodoo, you're gonna have a bunch of different taboos. The one thing that I love about Ifa is that, again, you learn what your Odu is. You get to learn about what your taboos are and how to stay on your path in life. Also in the Yoruba, learning things such as to pray for yourself first, pray for your family second, pray for the world last. You know,
Mm-hmm.
versus I feel like it was kind of mixed up within and other doctrines and things of that nature. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the reason why it's becoming very popular now is because it's also been a tool. I feel like everyone is looking for different tools to heal their abandonment issues.
Right.
Of the slave trade created one of the most biggest abandonment issues. So we're sitting here looking for a place to belong, and
Right.
wanting
Right.
to feel connected to feel at home to. You know, I feel like it's very natural for Black folks to understand elements. The Orishas is nothing but aspects of God. Aspects of God is broken up to forms of elements. Elements is broken up to aspects of nature. You know, so it's very, and then it just comes with a name. So Oshun, for instance, Oshun is understood as the love of God, also understood as the will of God. So to be in the will of God on earth is to be in the energy of Oshun, which is
Mm-hmm.
also have the sweetness of life. So to be in the will of God is also to receive the pleasures of God. You know, it's the energy of Oshun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that has also been in the flow of life, the
Right.
flow of sweet water, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So just understanding all of that stuff and how it translated, and also how other people took these same things, these same, we call them patakees. Um, Pataki is my word. That's a lie. Wrong word. Lies, lies, lies. It's called patakis. There we
Mm-hmm.
go. And with these patakis are literally just stories, folklores, and how
Mm-hmm.
these folklores is heard by someone else who said, "Hey, let's take this story of love and create it to be a story of bondage." So therefore, now they're forever in fear of what it is that they love. Ain't that some shit? Including their
Yeah.
own, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, and so just being able to, I feel like we need to understand Black folks are looking for a place to belong. And from an ancestral space, I feel like Ifa is an ancient spiritual cosmology system.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much just charts you from where you are right now all the way into the stars. There's something that people are learning right now that's called what's that shit called? M- Uh, manifesting generators. You ever heard of these things?
I heard manifestation. I heard of that.
It's this thing that people are looking up to. There's so many different trends or whatever, but what the way that the trend is letting people know what their almost not a life path, some stuff where you learn if you're a manifestor, if you're a manifesting generator, if you're a projector, if you're all these things. But anyway, when all of that also is something that was built off of a system that comes from the Chinese system of the I Ching. And
Mm-hmm.
the I Ching is nothing but a Chinese version of the Odu Ifa, you know. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like different tools that's out there, and all these different ways are still getting you back to the root of everything, you know.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Have permission for the first time ever as Black people to be able to claim something Black, and that also feels good. I feel like for the folks.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. That's a good point. That's a real good point. One thing that I wanted to ask was, I started studying a little bit of African spirituality, and why I started studying it is because I teach meditation, and I wanted to find out if there were ancient spiritual traditions or ceremonies that can help people deal with trauma. I was looking for an answer of how can we help Black people who are afraid of therapy, and I personally don't trust pills and medication. How can we get them to use these spiritual techniques to deal with trauma? Have you ever um, found anything really useful in Yoruba as far as helping people to overcome trauma, and as you mentioned healing?
Yeah, shit. I feel like everything, you know, like in Yoruba, we call on spirit to help. Not only that, but Yoruba, we have a concept that we believe in called the Ori.
Okay.
Ori is our head. The Ori is actually one of the highest energies for this coming year, but the Ori is the head.
Hmm.
Um, uh, the Ori, the way we understand our head, which is also our soul, is that our soul still sits in heaven and it looks down. So our soul also has this controller that's
Hmm.
understanding us in this whole cosmos of life, right? Um, but it's also our Ori that's responsible for receiving our blessings for us on earth. So we want our head to be good, you know. So understanding
Hmm.
having a good head, and the
Gotcha.
importance of one's own head. Also, in the importance of understanding what one's own head does to you when you neglect your head. Ain't that something you can neglect your head and your head crazy?
True. True.
And understanding too that uh that your Ori is higher than any Orisha, you know.
Wow.
So a
Yeah,
lot
I didn't know that.
yeah, so we're looking for all these Orishas, which are aspects of the Ori, you know,
Wow.
and even when it comes to Yoruba cosmology, let's say that we have God, understand that we look at God as mother, father, God, understand that there's one God, masculine aspect, feminine aspect supported, mother, father, God. After God, we have Ori. Then we have our ancestors, and then we have the Orishas. But you can also um, go to your Ori and never have to speak to God again.
Wow.
So
That's
you can
deep.
go yourself and, not even have to pray to God, because if you're going to yourself, then you're going directly to the image of God. You know,
Wow.
then you have the orishas, which are the aspects of God. So these are the aspects that's gonna help me maintain my God force, and then understanding which one of those aspects is gonna go for a lot of the things that I went through. Oya, number 9, mother transformation, that reminds you to embrace the needed deaths,
Mm-hmm.
which is also love, death, and sex magic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the needed death that even happens when you have an orgasm if you want to get to the place of pleasure. You know,
Mm-hmm.
which is also the adversary of the Agun, for the voice of the ancestors. So calling on Oya to help me embrace the death that I needed, to help me embrace the change, and to also allow the ancestors to comfort me as I'm dying from the shit that don't belong to me, including the aspect of me that thought that I was somebody.
Right, right, right.
You know? And
That's
understand
deep.
things, and how it connects. And I connected in a simple way, because when we praise as Black folks, I don't even want people to get caught up on the Orisha, because if I let you know who these Orishas are, then I translate you into language. And whoever you meet across the world, and you just ask, "Oh, so this is your God? What is their element?
Mm-hmm.
What are they
Mm-hmm.
known?" And they be like, "Oh, this person is something that we call on for a fire." Then you're just like, so therefore, wherever you are, you show up, and everywhere you are, you
Right,
know.
right, right.
So
Gotcha.
that's the way that I
That,
like.
that's powerful. That's real, and I can see how that could definitely light a fire of healing inside somebody to have that much to awaken to that much power inside you. That's beautiful. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Now, another question I want to ask you, and this is one of those questions where you might hear this all the time, and I might totally misunderstand. But from what I understand, a person who is initiated into Yoruba, are you initiated uh under the auspices of a specific Orisha, or does a specific Orisha choose you to become a Babaloa?
You have to so to be a Babalawo, essentially, is to have all the Orisha. Although there are certain Orishas that certain Babalawos are called to. You
Okay,
know, you to be Babalawo. So let me back up some. So for to be initiated, you everyone who's initiated is not initiated to Babalawo. Sometimes you
gotcha.
might be initiated into just an Orisha.
Okay.
So have things about, does an Orisha have my head, because you might be a child of Oshun because you're initiated into Oshun. So now you're a priest or priestess of Oshun. You might be a priest or priestess of Shango. You
Hmm.
might be they of Ogun, so you might be a priest or priestess of Ogun. You know, um, and a lot of times for those people, a lot of times the translation in the diaspora is that Orisha has my head. Um,
Hmm.
for a lot of us, there is no set Orisha that has our head. Uh,
Gotcha.
a lot of us, it's so vast that it's not a set Orisha. For some, many Orishas many Orishas kind of play pickable games.
Right.
You Me as a Babalawo, I am also initiated into Orisha. So I have, who do I have? I have over here, I have Shango. Um,
Shango.
I have Oya. Um, but I feel like, I have Ajayo Kun. And then I've that's it. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, there are some who have even more than that. There's some that have even less than that. You know. So the language of the idea of Orisha having your head, I like to translate into that when you were born, or the presence of your life, there's an energy that fancies you. There's an energy that you have a direct connection to that will listen to you a lot faster than other energies listen to you.
Hmm.
There's an aspect of you that's connected to these aspects of Earth. So if you go outside and wants to become an airbender, this is the reason why.
Hmm. Gotcha.
But to have your head is to not give your head away.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now let me ask this question, because I had, when I was studying African spirituality, I didn't have a teacher, so with me it was like a lot of meditation that I was doing on my own and kind of trial and error. And I'll tell you two experiences I had. First experience I want to ask you about is how do you know if an Orisha chooses you? Because I remember one day I was listening to some music for Osain, the healer. So, because I thought, thinking of myself as a healer. So I'm listening to some African music on some music for Osain on YouTube, get into a meditation trance, but it's not really hitting me. Then I said, okay, I'm big and strong, so it must be Shango. No, it wasn't Shango. And then I'm listening to Ishu, music for Yeshu, that I go into this deep meditation trance. And so I kept going back to his music over and over again. And there's a connection there. I felt like Yeshu was choosing me or Yeshu was calling me. Is that all in my head just because I like the song? Or could it be a particular vibration that's summoning me?
I would say all of the above. So even when it comes to the order of Orisha, um, uh, Eshu is in order to speak to Olodumare, which is God. In order to begin the dialogue, you have to go to Eshu. There's a person that does not have to go through Eshu, and the only person that doesn't have to go through Eshu is Oshun, and that's because Oshun did a whole separate sacrifice.
Okay.
So Eshu uh, opens the door. It's the gatekeeper. It's almost like paying your toll so you can get through.
Right.
Eshu, yes, I feel like, but too, you are also a messenger, a person that's like to communicate and things of that nature, you
Never
know.
thought about it like
Uh,
that.
so it might have just taken you. Eshu is also ruled by Mercury, the planet Mercury. So Eshu just probably just took you there, yeah, just to begin your dialogue.
Gotcha.
Cyan is very beautiful. The medicine man, the plant man, but it might have been just bigger than what you're thinking of. Also,
Gotcha.
the story of Eshu, the story of the child, and understanding the importance of the child, understanding the importance of being the underdog. Eshu, the reason why Eshu is the only Orisha, the reason why all the other Orishas have to go to Eshu to speak to God is because Eshu saved God. One day, God woke up and God got depressed and it was
Yeah.
having suicidal ideations from the freaking people he created on the world. So I've been out here on the world so long, and other
Wow.
people stressed me out that God woke up stressed himself, and the only time God was Eshu. And Eshu was a child, and
So Eshu is a savior.
you can look at Eshu as a savior.
Okay.
Everyone has their saving complexes. We all have ways of saving people at different things, but Eshu is a savior because
Okay.
as a messenger.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And also, I wanted to ask this: have you ever had any bizarre? And you could not answer the question if you choose. But you ever had any bizarre spiritual spirit experiences? And I'll tell you about one of mine. Around the same period of time where I felt like Yeshu was calling, I decided I wanted to astral project. So I started going into these real deep meditation trances where I meditate for like an hour and try to step out of my body. And then one day I was able to step out of my body, got scared, and went back into the body. And then after that, I felt like I summoned something, like I brought something back with me. And I remember I was at work meditating, opened my eyes for a quick second, and like there was a hallway, and around the hallway was a little corner. And I saw like a young black kid's arm wave at me real fast around the corner. So I said, "Who is that? What are these kids?" 'Cause I used to work at a drug rehab facility, third shift. So I said, "Oh, these kids are goofing around. These kids up here playing around." So I went over there, opened up all the rooms in that little corner where I was. There was no little black kid in the room. It was all just, one white kid, and it was all the rooms were empty. I'm like, yo, what's? So I sat down. The next day, came back, did the exact same meditation. This time I saw a head and an arm peek around the corner. I'm like, yo. Then the following day, I'm meditating. I'm in a real deep trance. I open my eyes, and there's somebody standing over me with like a pink and yellow, like plaid shirt and some blue pants. And I'm like, okay, this is not the kid. This is something different. But it seemed like I pulled something back from the other side in my astral projection experiment.
Yes. So two things. I am very experienced when it comes to spiritual possession, um parallels, universes, even if, well, my space, there's tons of people walking around and doing many different things. So that's
Right.
a normal way of life for me. Eschew is the massive, not the jokester. You know,
Oh,
if you call on Eschew is gonna play a game. Sometimes
gotcha.
don't like the games Eschew played. As you know, Eschew is a child again. So sometimes people say that Eschew is a devil because you can't quite outsmart a child. You want to start a game with a child got crunk, so now they're about to do all things, you know. So Eschew can be a mind fuck. Um, I'll potentially keep fucking with your mind because I'm here. We're here to play, you
Right,
know.
right.
So again, you called on Eschew and probably didn't know what to do too, because now you called on Spirit. You got Spirit's attention. Now your ass want to keep sitting there meditating and shit, and Spirit is like, well, motherfucker, I'm here. Now what?
Yeah, that's the vibe I got. Like I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to do now that he here. I don't know what he want. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so what to do? What to do in that situation? As a what would you recommend a person do in a situation like that?
Um, learn more about who it is that you're calling onto, or the reasons why you call into them, or the days. You know, the day is a day. We call it Oshe Ogun. The day is a day actually that we give thanks to Ogun, Osayin, and things of that
Okay.
nature. You know, so also understanding or maybe you did. So also going back in your life now, was there any doors that opened up in your life during that time that Eschew was there? You know, the Eschew provide something or create a shift that you might have needed non-verbally since you didn't know what to do, and Eschew just
Yeah.
um,
Actually, yeah, that's what my wife came to me and said, let's get separated. So maybe maybe it was maybe he made that pop off. You never know. He might have been like, you know what, I got you. He might
uh-huh.
have blessed me. At the time, I was shocked by it, but maybe it was a blessing.
I shade, and maybe it was a restoration of joy.
True. Very true. Very
Um,
true.
you know, so again, just understanding why you there. I'm also being ready to pay your toll. You know, so and also having some freaking treats again. Don't wake up this baby that's on his couch minding his own business, and
You
you
ain't got no treats.
want to
Yeah.
wake up. You don't got nothing. Doing doing something, and then or don't get mad at the baby. Wake up and have it fed. What the hell, you know?
Yeah, because I was thinking, man. So I spoke to somebody about it a while ago, and she was telling me like the spirits that you summon, you got to communicate them in a certain way. And I was like, man, I didn't think about that. The whole situation could have went totally left. It
Yeah, and
could have went left real quick.
too, we have to be mindful of opening doors. Eschew is the one. Eschew is the messenger, so he opens the door. He opens the way. Ogun clears the way. Eschew opens the way. Right. So it's almost like sitting in the room you're in now, and imagine yourself in your meditation. I'm gonna say this to you. Imagine yourself in a meditation, and all of a sudden, every corner in your house begins to open up, and it creates a portal. It creates a door for everything that you see.
Hmm.
Your meditation, you know that you open all these doors, and you come out of meditation, you open your eye, and you're aware the doors are open, but you choose not to acknowledge, and you also never do anything with it. You
You know,
know,
like all kinds of things in there.
and even when it comes to meditation, even when it comes to astral projection, sometimes people are so turned on by the act of being engaged that they don't know what to do once they arrive.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
everybody has so much pleasure in, oh my goodness, I must meditate, I must meditate. Okay, then what do you do when the doors are open when you get there? You know, are you
Mhm.
ready to see yourself face yourself in the meditation? You know, so like, then what's next? Because I share, you might be powerful and connected, and all of a sudden you summoning yourself, and then all of a sudden shit happening, and now
Yeah.
you. This is what happens to a lot of young folks. The reason why young folks are skittish today as adults is because we was playing around with some shit as a child. We
Yep.
lost that we had dominion.
Yep.
Shit are open and shifting. Nobody in our household could tell us anything about anything. We became scared as shit, and we're gonna do all of that but that. You know,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
you know, I had a friend of mine, a student last week in a class that wanted to connect with spirit, wanted to connect with spirit, wanted to connect with spirit, but then talked about, it might have been a meditation, but then talked about like once they began to connect with spirit. Matter of fact, they were in my house, so they the meditation that they saw after the meditation was over, they wanted some water. I went to show them where the water was, and they had a vision. No one's talking to her. But they had a vision of water, but they saw my face on it. I have an altar at the top level of my house that has my face on water.
Right. Right. Right.
So I was like,
Oh,
seeing that, let me allow you to go greet my water altar.
right.
So this sister was like very happy until, why am I seeing this stuff? What does it mean? How do I know this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Want to open up. You said, "Dear Lord, come speak to me."
Yep.
God, hey, please, Lord, I don't want to see. You know, so again, a lot of times us and our adolescents, we adolescent spirits. Sometimes we just don't know what it is that we ask for, or we
Right.
don't realize that we're actually connected to God, and we're shocked when God responds.
Right. Dang, that's deep. That's deep. Let's talk about that. So, why is it that that's such a surprise to people when they? Because we're raised in a Christian environment. Most of us are raised Christian. Most of us are raised with some kind of spirituality. Most people in the world believe in God, or so they say. But
Mm-hmm.
then when God responds, like you said, it's like a surprise. Why is it that everybody says they believe in God, but they're surprised when they see God or they have some kind of a spiritual experience?
You know, I'm gonna go to Christianity in this moment. Throw out my whole pastor title in this moment. We in the book of Christianity, in the book of Jesus. But in the book of Christianity, it has a beautiful example of a messenger, of someone who came here and didn't even went through sacrifice, right?
Mm-hmm.
This person even when they went through sacrifice, even made an announcement that one day that they would even return. And to have a mindfulness and awareness, because you will not even know the form in which I return in, but you know that I will return.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so fixated on this romanticized story of someone who did it before, not realizing that we're in the incarnation of who's doing it now.
Damn. Yep. Damn. That's deep.
And so if I'm always reading your story and Devin is always the hero, and even though it ends, I just keep repeating your story.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, you're born as an aspect. But you're worrying about, well, if it's 2022, why wasn't I born with my Jesus shoes? Because we don't wear those no more.
Right.
And
Right.
22, then where is my major? You know, like we're trying to figure out where's all of this. Because also, in order for me to outdo your story, I feel like I have to repeat your formula.
True.
So I am
True.
long suffer myself, like every great prophet before me long suffered.
Yeah.
And just because of my reception of God, so the way that I receive God doesn't come with suffering, then I need to go look for something that's more problematic to prove that if I go through a trial and then I have a testimony, then I have something to fall to thank God for.
Right.
But if I
Right.
ease instead of disease, how can I give thanks to God if God didn't give me a struggle story? Because
Damn.
in order to be with God, you have to struggle. You have to. You're not good enough in the eye. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
these words that was created in a way to bondage you, that has made it so that even when people, I say, get free. So even when people get free from the plantation, they don't leave the tree. Even when people get free from whatever their brand of religion is, they still don't leave the tree to go into spirituality. My mama says it. My mama, shout out to my country ancestors right now. But my
Mm-hmm.
mama, I said it. It's easy to be religious, because religious, you got a book, you got your Jesus, you got a book, you got your manual, and you got your disciples. But when you got spirituality, it goes just beyond Jesus. It goes beyond Buddha. It goes beyond Allah.
Mm-hmm.
you're having to see the cosmo and how things intertwine. You're having to see yourself and how yourself is intertwined with this crazy idea that you thought of one day that you now happen to be born into.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's safer for people to rest in religion opposed to go down the never-ending tunnel of spirituality and trust that they go down something that they can't see the ending to, that they can still come out as themselves. Even if they don't recognize themselves, they can even trust that whatever they transformed into. But now
Right.
the unknown knowingly and willfully, when it's easier to rest for someone with an unknown subject that someone says they mastered, and they're going to keep it and translate it into a way that keeps me safe.
Right. Right.
You know,
Gotcha.
yeah. So whether you serve the earlier I mentioned that I am love, and I like to say that too because I'm spicy as fuck. So what does that mean? When I say that I'm love, I say that love is a storm. And God is love, and God sends many storms.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, just
Absolutely.
because love don't mean I'm passive.
Right.
You get
Right.
the wind start blowing, and you wonder what happened. You know, the water starts,
Mm-hmm.
you wonder what happened, and not because I am looking to destroy something, but a cleansing is needed, child.
Yeah.
This was nice, and even its inhabitants was nice, but I just need to cleanse this environment and start anew.
Right. Right. Right.
People can blame God for that too, but that's another story. But I'm back to you, brother. And they shout out to 1212 too. I love numbers, so shout out to the 1212.
Oh, 12, 12. That's what's up. That's what's up. So yeah, so let me ask this question. So you said you're a Babalabo and a pastor.
Many things, but yes.
That yeah. How do people find that shocking, and how do you find a balance point between because Christianity says that all that other stuff is evil, but then Yoruba is like we embrace it all.
We
How do
embrace.
you,
Oh, I will hug everybody up in this bitch. Um,
right?
how does it work? It's funny. So if you was to go with me to Africa, you will see many churches. I feel like Africa, we're going to speak Africa. That's also, if you go back home with me to Nigeria, to Oshogbo, you would notice many churches. You would notice many mosques. Sometimes they're even more dominant than, the homes of the Babalaos, the shrines and temples and things of that nature. You will also see the pastors of the churches, the leaders of these mosques, go to the Babalao for advice, for reading, for instruction,
Wow.
to
Right.
even continue the message of what they're doing for their congregation. Ifa doesn't care how you choose to reflect your message. And that's the beautiful part, that you can be, you can understand the principles of this earth and choose to show up in any principle.
Mm-hmm.
you know so that's the reason why I honestly, like, I used to say, like, if I ever do it, and don't this might happen one day, but if I ever wanted to go back to the church with the fluidness that
He said it and then laughed after he said it. I'm gonna go back to church.
it's just might be back on some because I had a vision when I was younger. Of being in a stadium full of all the religious leaders of the world, and I'm teaching a sermon, teach them or release them. Because I feel like that people have all these books, and they have these people codependent on hearing them come regurgitate the book, and no one has regurgitated anything in a way that someone can reawaken the majesty within themselves. Because
Mm-hmm.
if someone reawaken their majesty, then maybe you won't have a need for me. And my ego is offended by that, because if you don't have a need for me, then is my purpose the will of God anymore, or is it the will of my ego, the purpose of my ego?
Right. Right. Right.
I can't let you know that I'm not in the will of God. I'm in the will of my ego. So I had to let you stay in a place of suppression.
Mm-hmm.
But in Yoruba, in Ifa, you can show up in everything. Iana Van Zant is a good example of someone who shows up in a very casual way in a world that's very safe by many people, but definitely has the altars and shrines around.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
um, so it doesn't. Ain't that shit good? Ain't that shit good? Good job. Black, right? Um, when you are the root, baby, you're not concerned about the stem, about the stuff, about the branch, about the leaf, about the acorn that dropped, because you are the root. You
Right.
know, and
Right.
being with that strong black root, um, and it's easy. Like to really know Islam, to really know Christianity, you have to know Ifa. Um, unless you just want to be in the performance arts of religion and spirituality. And
Right.
religion and spirituality is also performance art sports too. And
Mm-hmm.
people are perfected, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
perfecting and projecting the fear of it. Ain't that some stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. So let's switch gears real quick. Let's talk a little bit about your art. You mentioned that, when I met you, you said you were a musician, and I actually played you a couple of the songs that I had written. People who know me know that I do hip hop. Not a lot of my friends know that I actually write songs with melodies and everything. So I appreciate you listening and giving me some encouraging words. How did you get into music?
How did I get into music? I started writing at an early age. Goodness to the girl. I don't know. I managed. So a lot of the music I'm doing right now is brand new for many people because I've been behind the scenes. I've managed people. I wrote for people. I've been a creative development and all these different things because I'm a lover of anything of God, which is anything that's art.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, after spending years of managing people and even trying to put together like these things, I had to one day choose to not be ashamed of being talented in many places. It was
Right.
almost I came up on the scene and I could do everything. Then who the fuck is this dude?
Right.
So for me, in a way that I chose to shrink myself to make people feel safe, is that I chose to help encourage people who needed artist development, opposed to being an artist. So
Right.
now
Right.
being the artist, oh my goodness, you know, and yeah, so I have documentaries that I'm a healing storyteller. I got stories forever, and
Right.
everything I do is an expression. So why not take all the magi that I know and create it in a way that you can press play in it and somehow that you can color with it and somehow that you can rock it around your neck somehow, that you can
Mm-hmm.
put it on your skin and somehow, so oh, but to accept that you're an artist. Years ago I was working on this journal and the entry of the journal said a message to the Black creative. It's time for you to start working on your heart instead of hiding behind your art. And one of the aspects of a creative is you can hide behind that art.
True.
And even so, even in the part of hiding behind your art is that you can go insane about something that's coming to you easy. So God can give you a message and you can go insane on how do I need to translate this message to other people. So you're worried about somebody else's receptivity of something that came to you, just
Yep.
because we're not rooted in our heart space. So
Mhm.
music. I have a documentary that I'm just finished filming. I'm currently producing a score. That's a
Okay.
documentary, you know.
Okay.
Uh, but just not for me. My music is really not being afraid of being out there. Even my return back to TV, I used to do theater and television. So literally, all of that is like I did it before. There we go. Before going viral could go viral, I feel like I went viral at an early age, and I wasn't ready
Mhm.
to go viral. What is this? I don't
Yeah.
understand why everywhere I go, people want to see me. So I spend time just hiding. And now I'm at
Right.
a place where I have to get my message out. I have to get my music out. I'm also, shout out to the ancestors, realizing the importance of your own sound. Instead of being a fan of instead of being a fan of duplication, become a fan of your experience in art and create an avenue for your experience in art. Be your experience in art. And that's
Right.
something I'm having to come comfortable with, and be sure that I don't self-sabotage myself in my head or over talk, or I'm a Gemini, so there's an aspect of me that's very social, and
Hmm.
there's an aspect of me that don't like people, and I don't never know when they're gonna come or what, you know.
Yeah.
So to just
Yeah.
like navigate my nuances in the world as an artist. um yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about your music. Is there a genre? What do you like to work in? What do you, what palette you like to paint? What colors you like to paint in musically?
Right now my music is sounding a lot like what? um so I have a project that's coming out. I have a project called Church.
Okay.
Church is a very upbeat project, full of upbeat music that's going to penetrate your soul. It's going to take you to church.
Hmm.
And upbeat means upbeat in terms of upbeat for the body and upbeat for the cerebral,
Right.
you know. um and that's church, but church is going to be like almost like a sound from around the world. I also have a funk album that I'm working on.
Okay.
That one is very dear to me because that brings back 7 minute, 11 minute, 14 minute tracks
Right. Right.
where I'm
Which
just
I love. I'm a big fan. I'm a music fan. I love the long funk tracks, man. Funkadelic. I love it.
sure to take
Love
you to
it.
that where you're just like, wait, where the fuck did we talk about some astral projected and time travel? Like where we just go with that? Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that's dear to me because funk also allows you to, for me, it allows me to be comfortable with expressing myself. Um, yes, back to performance arts. It's almost like all the kookiness of whatever I'm hearing, being okay with performing the kookiness.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
yeah, so I'm just happy to be getting back to music that's I'm actually just happy to be telling the damn story.
And you know what? I think that this is a time for it, man. I was listening to the Kanye West interview earlier today. He asked an important question. He said, "Who lit right now? Think about musically, like who really?" I mean, I'm still listening to the old artists that I grew up listening to. I'm still listening to Alice in Chains and Jerry Cantrell and Soundgarden and hip hop. I'm still listening to all the hip. But who really inspired? Like nobody's really, other than the guys I've been listening to. There's no new artist that's really inspiring me. A lot of stuff you can groove to, a lot of stuff you can nod your head to. But who really lighting a fire and rejuvenating and innovating in music nowadays? I really, I like Kanye West a lot, but the Donda album I thought that was okay. It didn't really blow my mind like that. I'm a big fan of RJ Payne, but he's been around for a while now. As far as hip hop artists go, Griselda, but they've been around for a while. Like, who's going to be that new force? And I think that anybody who could bring all of this together, Christianity, Yoruba, and all this other amazing stuff, it, you got to do it, man. The funk, the soul, church, all of it in one place. It might be your time.
We was going this conversation, but I'm liking this one.
Yeah, yeah. It might be your time, bro. Trust me. It might be just be your time.
You're gonna have me record music after this show because I've been procrastinating. So the Yoruba, our New Year starts in June. And we do a reading every year for the new year to figure out what we need to do. So this year for the new year is taboo to procrastinate, meaning the spirit is giving you something to do. It's
Yep.
for you to not do it because this is also the year of karma, where spirit is looking to give blessings. Um, and you can't get blessings if you're not making room for the blessing by doing whatever spirit asks you to do.
Yep.
Spirit asks you to labor. It's just saying, baby, go unlock the door. Not that
Hmm.
you gotta just go unlock it. So therefore, you go like to sleep. As long as when
Yeah.
I get in there, I can get in there. So and this thing with my music, be recording over here like the mad scientist. I probably have like tons of bodies of work done already. I just need to, yes, just thank you. Mother freaking story is thank you, brother. Get me thinking
Yeah,
about my daggone self. So I appreciate you.
no doubt, no doubt. So let me ask this because we'll wrap it up soon. But I want to ask, is there any place for people who want to support to go plug yourself? You
Yeah.
got any music out there so we can buy it, listen to it?
Yes. So on all platforms, I am there as King Allahjebrah. I would type it into the screen in case somebody wants to figure out how do you spell Allahjebrah. King Allahjebrah. I am on all the platforms as that. I have some dope music on there currently. Some stuff
Okay.
that move your body, um, move your consciousness. How about that? It's gonna shift your consciousness. Um, and then I look forward to like the tracks that I really have right now. I look forward to getting out there. But I'll encourage you all to go out there to go check out Allahjebrah's Mood, and then check out the remix of Allahjebrah's Mood, which is called To Be High, which is the part 2. And get into it. All platforms, though, find me under King Allahjebrah. Website, www.allahjebrah.com. If you see me on the street, don't be afraid to speak. But, might have to tap me on the shoulder, be like, hey, brother, I'm here. But, like, no real talk. If you see me on the street, don't be afraid to speak. I am preparing to start doing some excursions where I really want to curate spaces for Black folks to rest. So having more rest retreats here at my space in DC and also at my space in Africa. So check me out. I'm down to create too. If you know how to beat consistently, you can be in the background. You the You know what I mean? So like, I'm very organic. I have some music that I recorded at my house in Africa. You can hear the chickens making cameos, Those are very real. But
Yeah, I love those perfect accidents. When you recording something, one time I was recording a meditation, and all of a sudden in the background, right outside the window, you can hear a bird chirp, and we recorded it by accident, but it just fit perfectly in that moment. I
yeah,
was like, yeah, that's a beautiful accident. I like that.
yeah, accident.
Yeah. But sir, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. And we're definitely going to be listening to that music, supporting you, man. And hopefully in the future, you got some time. If I got some time, man, I want to collaborate, do some music with you too, man. I'm digging your vibe, digging your energy, man. I think we can come up with some heat.
Word.
I got Audacity, and I got a microphone right here, so we can get it popping right now.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Thank you for your time, my brother. Peace and blessings to you, man. I'm a
Indeed.
holler at you later, man. Peace, man. Thanks to everybody who joined us, man. Peace and love.
Peace.